evening, everybody. I am Bill Buckmaster. I'm the host of the Buckmaster Show, Monday through Friday during the noon hour on KBOI AM 1030, Tucson's intelligent voice. On behalf of all of my colleagues at KBOI, I want to thank you for coming here tonight for this live debate, this CD8 debate. I want to thank the candidates for coming. It's great to have you here. This is being broadcast live on KBOI. It's also being streamed at kboi.com. We want to thank the Jewish Community Center for hosting us tonight at this fine venue. And we want to thank the Arizona Daily Star for putting all of this together and being the sponsor for the event. And let's This should be a lively debate and lots of ground to cover. And the moderator tonight is Joe Burchell of the Arizona Daily Star. And I am going to turn it over to Joe right now, and we'll get right at it and get right into it. Joe?
I understand that we're in trouble. I don't think Republicans, Democrats, Green Party, I don't think there's anybody in this room that would disagree with that. We have a debt that's gone out of control, a deficit that's out of control. Washington doesn't seem to listen to us, and I do think both parties would agree with that. Where we disagree somewhat, I think, is where we go moving forward. How do we pay off that debt? How do we pay off that deficit? The American people need jobs. They can't afford $4 a gallon gasoline. They can't afford an economy that's practically shrinking. I think the way forward is freedom, economic freedom, not more government, not the government laying on this economy's back so it can't get up. Lower taxes, getting the government out of the way so businesses, large and small, can create jobs. American energy, we're literally sitting on top of a bank vault full of money pretending to be poor. We have everything we need in this nation. We are blessed to have all the resources we have. We can come back from this. We will come back from this. We can create jobs. We will win elections and get Washington out of the way and out of our lives. I'm Jesse Kelly, and I look forward to a nice discussion tonight about the issues that matter to this nation. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Mr. Barber?
Thank you all for coming. No, thank you for moderating. The microphone on now? Tall guy, short guy. Change your microphone. Okay. Can you hear me now? That's better? Okay, good. Thanks. That's kind of your voice. Look at this right away. Thank you, Jesse. Awesome. Good. Now it's working. Just had to be scrambling. Well, thanks again for coming tonight. All of you who are interested in this race, democratic process, and to hear all of us who are running for office about what we believe and what we hope to do for this community. I have deep roots here. They go back to 1959 with my father, who was in the Air Force, brought us here to Davis Mountain Air Force Base. We went back for tour duty in England and then up to Michigan, came back, fell in love with this incredible community. And I've lived here, worked here ever since. I'm going to Washington to be the strongest voice I can for middle-class Americans. Middle-class Americans feel stagnation in their wages, unemployment, underemployment, foreclosures. They need a champion in Washington to make sure that the policies we enact are good for middle-class Americans and for seniors and for veterans, three of the largest groups of people that we have in this district. In addition to serving my community as a public servant for 32 years, being the regional and the state director for the Division of Developmental Disabilities, I also worked for 5.5 years as the district director for Congresswoman Givers, and I learned even more about this district, the issues, the people, the solutions. For 22 years, my wife and I, who is sitting in the front row, Nancy, we ran a small business here in Tucson, so we know what it takes to meet a payroll, to keep the doors open, to keep customers satisfied. There are going to be a lot of choices that villagers will make, and tonight we will clarify, I think, the differences between us. I want to go to Washington to protect Medicare and Social Security, and I think my opponent, Mr. Kelly, has different views.
First question will be for Mr. Manolakis. It's from Tucson and Karen Shute and attorney Bill Rubin. Both of whom want to know what key accomplishments do you want to complete, considering the term you're running for is just 6 months, and for much of that time, Congress will be out of session and campaigning for re-election.
Okay, I would say, from Massachusetts, so I can say, let me say this to that. What I want to accomplish, first of all, is to get our laws put into readable English. The way they exist right now, they're not in such a format. I don't think it's right that people are rising, putting their hands up into the air, willing to go fight for the bills and the laws of this land. But under the Constitution, under the Bill of Rights, and they can read what's in those bills and what's in those laws. Also, I wanted to make sure that we move maybe quicker to start bringing the troops home. I think they should come home sooner than the plan as it is set. Also, I'm going to make sure there's health care for all, and I can start that very emphatically because I've already started a movement for that to begin with at Occupy Tucson. In the last 9 months, I've been talking to people there, letting them know what's going on with our health care situation, such as under the so-called super committee. Right now, we're talking about we want to protect Medicare, we want to protect Social Security. Of course, these gentlemen never said we want to protect Medicaid, which happens to be 70 million Americans. So I've been voicing an opinion for this for 9 months now at Occupy Tucson. And I expect to continue to voice it as soon as I'm in Congress, and I will take directions on all these propositions, all these ideas, to see that they come to fruition. And I'm ready to do it. I've already started 9 months ago.
Hey, Mr. Kelly, I forgot to announce it. I'm sorry. This is a 1-minute no rebuttal question. What do you want to accomplish in 6 months?
The extension of the Bush tax cuts. Right now, those tax cuts are set to expire, and it's going to equal the largest tax increase in American history. That's with an economy that's got too much deficit and an economy that is taxed enough already. The solution is not to take more money out of the private sector and put it in the hands of Washington, who's proven that they will waste it. We must extend those Bush tax cuts. It has to be priority one because they are set to expire, and without action by Congress and the President, we are going to see the largest tax cut in history. It has to be priority one.
Thank you. Mr. Barber.
Well, there are 2 things that I want to do right away, and that is seek bipartisan support for a bill that will help our veterans get the post-traumatic stress disorder help that they need. We have hundreds of thousands of vets coming back from Iraq and from Afghanistan without proper treatment and diagnosis. We can do better. We have a system in this state and across the country where we have professionals who can do that job. We need the VA to contract out for those services so people can have access to services closer to where they live. And secondly, there's a border security bill that was attempted and still needs to go through. The drug cartels live on the millions of dollars that they ship from the United States back into Mexico on money cards. I want to introduce a bill, a bipartisan bill, that will go after those money cards and make sure that the cartel's money flow is disrupted. And lastly, with regard to the tax cuts, I will never vote for a tax increase for middle-class Americans. But people at the richest end of the spectrum do need to pay their fair share.
Thank you. Next question is from Mr.